What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That's the one and only Scott Savage. Everybody can always join us when we're over on YouTube at Inside the Game Official, as well as InsideTheGame.ca, those podcast services thanks to our friends over at Fired Up Network, and the TV streaming networks around the globe. Roku, Amazon Prime, ESTV, Game Plus, everywhere under the sun you can find us. But Scott, we've got a loaded show this week. What do we have today?
We have a lot of fun topics here and things that are very near and dear to our heart. Starting off with, Respawn has officially started the development of Star Wars Jedi game. Everybody's happy to hear more about that. The NBA players have been seen posting photos of themselves playing or watching new Call of Duty content. Very curious about that myself. Assassin's Creed Mirage video has come out showing a little bit more about BASM and what we're going to be getting into in Mirage, and I don't know if we're seeing too much info at this point, but I'm excited. And lastly, we have Sega licensing a, quote, immensely popular IP for Web3 development. It seems that we're not past NFTs yet.
Not quite, but we got a loaded show, so let's dive in. Scott, Respawn starts development on its next Star Wars Jedi game. That's no big surprise. This is Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. A new job listing suggests that Respawn Entertainment has started its development on a third Star Wars Jedi title. The job listing was spotted by Reddit user Hard to Dakor, man, I tell you sometimes, who posted the job description in the Reddit Game Leaks and Rumors subreddit. Now, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, that's the biggest thing when it comes around some of these things. The job listing for a principal game writer and reveals development on the next game is already ongoing. The job description reads, quote, "We're looking for a highly skilled principal game writer who will embrace our philosophy and share their hard-earned expertise to help us create an incredible Star Wars experience for our players in a fun third-person action-adventure setting." Well, that's no big surprise there, Scott. Did you expect the third one to be coming so quickly?
Absolutely knew they were going to have to work on a new one, but This soon is kind of a surprise. Well, it's not necessarily, when you look at the sales figures regarding Survivor, you can tell that it was a smash hit, so I'm really hoping for a third in the series.
Absolutely. Tom goes on and say, "We're picturing an avid gamer who is passionate about storytelling through interactive narratives. Understand the direction of the lead writer. The principal game writer will be responsible for writing dialogue, scenes, story treatments, and supporting text for the game." End quote. Scott, no big surprise here. After coming off of Jedi Survivor and obviously Fallen Order, being the first one, the second one really kind of hit home with a lot of people. Elevated. Dude, honestly, you know what it felt like? It felt like Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2, didn't it?
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good way of looking at that, because it just kind of blew up and got bigger and better.
Absolutely. Now, they're still working on bugs when it comes to Survivor on PC, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's going to take a bit of time. It's funny how that's the main principle usually when developing a game, but here we are now getting into issues there where console, you know, I had issues on my console, man. It could have been my game of the year, but 4 or 5 crashes really kind of hindered that experience, right? If it wasn't for those crashes, dude, it might have beat my Final Fantasy 16. I don't know. Right now, I'm sitting with Final Fantasy 16 for my game of the year. But yeah, I've been jumping back into a bunch of games over the holidays, which was nice. But either way, getting back into Star Wars, I'm happy to see that Respawn has been able to elevate what EA started off on a rocky road to Star Wars. It was able to kind of get their head above water with the Jedi. I call it a series now at this point, right? We're getting into this trilogy. But if they're working on dialogue, right, they're looking to hire. Game is in development, sure, but we're still reality 5-6 years away.
Oh yeah, this is the very, very beginning steps of development for sure. But it is interesting that I see this as writing all the different dialogue and options like that, not using an AI script writer. And that's interesting nowadays. That's a big point.
Yeah, because Ubisoft recently just announced that they're using an AI scriptwriter to help them with dialogue in their open world games, right? So when it comes to Watch Dogs and you're walking through that world, it has to be populated somehow, and the dialogue needs to go there with it. But it takes up a lot of time when it comes to the writers focusing on just the little blurbs in the background that how many people don't actually listen to or even hear as they're walking through the streets.
Yeah, we recall some and yell them out as we're playing Grand Theft Auto, but that's
Yeah.
a very stylistic reason.
Absolutely, yeah. More shocking, I think, than anything else. But when you get in the world of Watch Dogs, and even now with Assassin's Creed, you have to think that Ubisoft is looking for that AI experience to help alleviate some of the workload when it comes to their own development team. Here, EA is looking for hiring people to actually focus on that still. And that's just the way it's been for years. AI, though, is starting to kind of alleviate some of that workload.
And I'm not entirely sure that I worry so much about AI, but I am still happy to see, in any case, we're hiring a real writer here this time.
Scott, where do you think the next Star Wars takes us?
Oh, I wonder if we'll see the classic kind of areas, the Hoth, the Dagobah, and those kind of locations, but I'm not really certain. What's left to do?
Maybe more Vader. I just like little spoiler territory. Vader was there, but for like a split second, and then just vanished. I was like, "Yo, it was great to see ya. Peace out." And he just left, and that was the end of him. Like, we actually gonna get into a strong, heavy battle and have the Force be an issue with him going back and forth between Cal and the rest of the Jedi Force, right? Are they gonna wrap this up? Or you think they're going to continue on the Jedi series like they do with Assassin's Creed?
I think it's going to be much like Assassin's Creed, and we can't have Cal defeat Vader because we know Luke does that, right?
Well, I guess so, yeah, when you think about it, right, in hindsight. But have they really paid attention to the storyline overall, where Respawn has kind of gone out and created their own cast of characters, right, and their own kind of vision for Star Wars, and they've been given the okay to do that, so why not kind of keep going on that? But man, I was just like, Vader was there, and I was just, all right, see ya, and now he's gone. Oh, man, there could have been a little bit more there, but definitely curious
he had to go do his own VR side spin-off series that I played.
Yo, Vader Immortal was a ton of fun, dude. That was a great game. If you haven't played that in VR, I definitely recommend you check that one out. But yeah, it's nice to see that Cal is going to be hopefully coming back, and I think the expansion on how they were able to open up the scope of the world, kind of give you like an open level. Right? It kind of reminds me a little bit of that Tomb Raider feel when they first rebooted Tomb Raider, where it gave you that, here's this area you can go and explore, but it's not an open world like an Assassin's Creed experience. So it's a little bit more honed in, and I like that, actually. I kind of feel that's maybe more my style now at this day and age versus this open world Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Good luck, and away you go.
Yeah, the Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed formula is just way too big for me, and that's an unpopular opinion, perhaps, but it's just too much.
It's the hours you sink into it, right? And it takes so much time. But again, when you take a look at Jedi Survivor, the open feel of those levels, that level design was some of the best level design I've ever played. The verticality in that game, there's so much they can now even take from that particular game. Bringing it into the third one has me really, really pumped to see where we can go next with coming into the Jedi Survivor experience. Will they go with another Jedi Survivor 2, Scott, or are we getting into a brand new title?
Oh, is this the Revenge of the Jedi, the title of the movie that was changed?
Maybe. It could be Jedi 1313.
One day.
I don't think we'll ever see that. Man, hopes are high when we get into Respawn and talking about Star Wars, because they've been crushing it so far. I love the first one. The second one was even better, which was hopeful, but you never quite know, right? Sometimes the second one's a little bit of fluff, but maybe sometimes it's also the third one that never hits quite well either. But hopefully we're able to kind of get on that path and keep going strong, and maybe they can just crush it again. Respawn has all the faith in the world for me right now, Scott. They've been killing it ever since they've been going, so.
Oh, absolutely. This is the last bastion for Star Wars for me. Please, Respawn, keep it going.
Absolutely. Scott, getting into topic number 2, NBA players have seen Call of Duty 2023. Jordan Midler over at BGC had this to say. Several NBA players have taken to social media to claim they have been shown a demo of Call of Duty's 2023 title. Interesting, Scott, a demo. They didn't get hands-on, just a demo. The event is taking place as part of the NBA's Summer League, which is currently taking place in Las Vegas. In the images, which have been posted on Instagram and later shared on Twitter, several NBA players are shown sitting at PS5s, allegedly playing the game. It's unclear if they were allowed to post these images to social media as part of the event. Prominent Call of Duty Twitter account Charlie Intel has suggested that the players didn't get to play the new game and instead were just shown a demo. Scott, no big surprise coming out here that a new Call of Duty, we've been talking about this for a while now, the new Call of Duty was in development. It was supposed to be an addition to Modern Warfare 2, but after selling $800 million in 3 days and eventually $1 billion after 10, it's no surprise we're getting a whole standalone title here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it has proven itself capable, and it needs some sort of a sequel.
No, absolutely. This year's game is being led by Sledgehammer and supervised by Infinity Ward. It was reported by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier that Activision's goal for the new Call of Duty is to make a game that feels, quote, like a standalone full-price release and also an extension of Modern Warfare 2, end quote. Are you excited for this?
Okay. Well, that statement there just sounds like it's going to be a competent sequel, and I'm totally okay with that. Or a threequel, I suppose you could say.
Well, yeah, because we also heard rumors that it was supposed to be Modern Warfare 3. Right? Like, we're kind of a bit of all over the place. The fact that we've seen NBA players, NFL players in the past, I believe it was, that have gone hands-on first and then pulled in some of the Call of Duty well-knowns, right? Like Tim the Tatman and all these other big stars when it comes to Call of Duty to showcase the next game. No big surprise that we're getting in here early. A little shocked, though, that it's only a demo that they're being shown and not able to go hands-on.
Yeah, I'm very curious if it was maybe just holding that intel, that knowledge in a little bit, but
Right.
They wanted to add the hype to the marketing campaign, and that's why you get certain superheroes like this, NBA, NFL, and getting on those games. So I think they were allowed to share these photos, is what I'm thinking, because this is definitely a marketing boost. That's the only reason.
Absolutely, it is a marketing boost, right? They come in there, they want to showcase that their next game is on the way here shortly. Coming up was rumored to be what, November, I think it is, which is no big surprise. That's the usual time, right? So, yeah, expected to be coming November. No big surprise. Yeah, it's funny because we talk about how much Call of Duty has kind of been around for so long, and we look at maybe Call of Duty fatigue, but then after last year's sales, I don't think there's a lot of fatigue going on at all, Scott.
No, it's funny how everybody kind of did a 180 on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Came right around full circle. What are you hoping for in Sledgehammer's next title?
Oh, well, out of this game in particular, I know we're supposed to be kind of following the remember, no Russian level. And that is insane. I'm really curious to see how they're going to sensitively tackle that level, because it is, well, quite brutal, as everybody knows. If you played that way back, it's
Sure did.
a terrorist act. So how is that going to work into the next game? Is it going to be a motivating factor? There's a lot of things I want to see. How much of a rewrite is there going to be from the first one?
Yeah, will it follow suit like it did in the past, right? I think that's the biggest question, especially in today's day and age. You know, sensitive content is around, and if they do the warning, then it's there. You know what you're getting into, right? So just a heads up. Otherwise, if it came, when it was initially released, it came as a surprise. I think that's what it was like. Wow, they really went this far. And I'm kind of hoping, in a sense, Scott, that they stick by their guns and do it again. I think you want to move the needle, right? Set the bar. Call of Duty's been setting the bar high forever, and they have the power and the ability and the developers to do that once again. So time will tell, Scott.
Because we know that it's going to be, or it's said to be, the Remember No Russian. I'm wondering how shocking can they make it? Are they going to change what we already know happens? And how is that going to look? I'm really excited about this one. And I haven't been excited about Call of Duty in some time.
Will they take it too far, you think? That's the other side of it, right? There's a way, one way, there's two scopes. They can go way over the top, or they can kind of just play it safe. Which way do they kind of go?
I'm wondering if, we're going to be committing a war crime, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Scott, topic number 3 has me so excited, man. I've been waiting for this one for a while because this Assassin's Creed Mirage video shines the spotlight on stealthy protagonist Basim. This is Michael Hardens over at PSU. Small little clip here of Ubisoft has emerged from the shadows with a brand new look at Assassin's Creed Mirage, this time shining the spotlight on its main protagonist, the master assassin, Basim. Assassin's Creed Mirage takes place in 9th century Baghdad and sees Basim becoming embroiled in the war against the Templar Order, which is seen the order change dramatically throughout the series, kind of less of a focus sometimes versus the past, right? But the game's developers are making a conscious effort to bring the series back to its roots with Mirage, replacing the sprawling open world setting with a focus on linear storytelling and stealth gameplay. Now, from that clip alone, Scott, I was like, dude, this feels like they even reference Brotherhood. They reference Altair. Like, we are going back to the roots. I think this is exciting for fans who've been looking for that stealth mechanic to really make a return. Valhalla, huge change in the franchise, right? All of a sudden you're blowing your war horn and then your whole crew comes running out. Like, I get the Viking thing and I understand that's the Viking time period, but that's also where we introduced to BASM, was in Valhalla. So to see us take a 12-year leap back in time and the becoming of BASM as basically a street rat who's out there stealing what he can to survive, and he gets into the Brotherhood. Dude, I'm so excited. Where are you at with this game?
Oh, as time goes on, I get more and more excited. There's a few things that are a little strange to me, however.
Yeah.
I've mentioned to you the Mark and Execute is what it's called in Splinter Cell, and that system is in use in this game as well. But instead of having a handgun, which makes a lot of sense to do really quickly, Basil sort of teleports around to kill several targets in succession. That's really interesting because it's going to change a lot of the gameplay, but it's getting away from what the series used to be.
Yeah, for sure. I've been starting to kind of go on media blackout. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out in October. I believe it was October 12th, somewhere in around there. And I'm kind of I just want to wait and get my hands on it and just go, right? And I've loved Assassin's Creed for so long. I've been there since day one, really. So to see the series change and grow, and then multiplayer come in and the multiplayer just completely go away, reboot with Origin, get into Odyssey, get into Valhalla, and where they take in Valhalla with all the DLC for that game, like that was a 2-year game. Like that's how much DLC they kept dropping throughout that particular title. And I'm curious to see how much longer in post content they're going to carry on with Mirage. Is that something that they're looking at doing, or is it here's the game, now you're done, we're out on to the next one? Time will tell.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how it's going to go. And they've mentioned bringing back some of the old systems like dyeing your clothes and things that are really interesting. They've taken away some of the XP grinding. It's no longer experience for leveling your character up. It's all unlocked through stories. So with that given, I'm not sure how they could really add post-launch content, but time will tell, as you say.
Absolutely, right? Valhalla had a huge emphasis on the RPG element, and part of me is kind of a little bit saddened that it's not here in Mirage. I wanted to spend a lot of time here, and I think I still can, but part of me wants to have that bit of a grind element when it comes to Assassin's Creed now. And I just think I'm just becoming so used to it. I had to do it in Origins, had to do it in Odyssey. Valhalla was absolutely there as well. So now that we're stepping way back, I understand the procedure to go back in time 12 years, to go back to the roots, which I'm so excited for. Yo, throwing knives are back. Like, that's something we haven't seen in quite some time, right? We're on the rooftops, and once again, we can hide into those little balconies and then pop back out. There's the bench kill. Like, there's so many aspects of what we've known as Assassin's Creed fans that have gone away over the years. And now we're making a return, and in a new modern era, too. I think is modern era of gaming anyways, not exactly 9th century bad. So that has definitely changed, but it has me very excited to see what the future of BASM and when we get into Mirage. The biggest question then after this, Scott, is what happens next, because we all know right now, dude, there's 11 titles currently either planned or in development. We know Jade is coming, we know Hexy is coming, right? We're gonna get away from the stealth element, I think, once again. But when you get into Jade, when we get into feudal Japan and all these other things fans have been asking for, the stealth has got to be there still.
Oh, it must. Surely it must. I hope they just split the series, really. Keep the RPG elements in one kind of side-off series and then go back to the roots and continue on with that.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage. I cannot wait. It's one of my most anticipated titles this year.
Actually, yeah. Myself included.
Scott, this is one I think most gamers aren't really looking forward to. Sega is licensing an immensely popular IP for a new Web3 game. Jordan Miller over BGC. Line Next has announced that it will team up with Sega and license an immensely popular IP for its blockchain gaming platform, GameDossi. Quote, Line Next is pleased to be teaming up with Sega to bring some exciting gaming to Web3 spaces for gamers around the world, end quote, said Youngsu Cole, is CEO of Line Next. Quote, through this partnership, Game Dossie will provide Web3 content that anyone can easily enjoy, including Sega fans, end quote. Scott, we've been terrified, on the fence, off the fence. At this point, I think everybody just doesn't want NFTs or the blockchain to be involved in gaming. This is not a wise move, I think, from Sega. I think they want a piece of the pie, but I'm very curious and very cautious if this is actually going to work.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it will be implemented, but I'm really just scratching my imagination to try and come up with an idea that would work. Is this really just going to be skins, perhaps some kind of legacy, older callbacks from older IP, black and white Sonic? I'm not sure how you could really make this work. And
Absolutely.
Web3 in the gaming space, is that something that we need to force into the gaming space? What does it do for the consumer?
I think that's the biggest thing, right? What does it do for the consumer, right? The company behind Sonic the Hedgehog is letting third-party partners create NFT games using some of its franchises, including Three Kingdoms and Virtua Fighter, but currently won't allow its biggest characters to be associated with blockchain titles to avoid potentially devaluing its IP. So they're tapping a little bit at the door. They're kind of dipping their toes in the water to see if it's going to take off, but yet they don't want to put Sonic over there with NFTs, right? Because that's probably one of their biggest IPs at this point is Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's very interesting that they're cautiously getting into it, but they don't want to devalue their characters. It kind of gives me an idea of how they perceive this move as well.
Well, we still remember when Ubisoft tried to come out here with their own take on the blockchain. Quartz just tanked. And then we know that Square Enix is looking heavily at NFTs as well. So we are starting to see some of these companies kind of dive in a little bit. They're not fully in. I think Square Enix seems to be about one of the most that really wants to get involved in it. But a lot of us are questioning, what is this for? Do we care? And will it benefit us as the consumer in the end? Or is it just more of a money grab?
Yeah, is this just my ability to resell a skin on my gun? That doesn't do anything for me personally.
Now, we've seen the rise of loot boxes, battle passes, and everything in between. So is this just the next evolution? I don't know. Time will tell. That'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Scott, what have you been playing?
Oh, well, we had a bit of time off, and although I had a huge amount of plans and games to catch up on, I put that all aside for Mass Effect. The Legendary compilation has me gripped, and I'm filled with wonder, just like I was the first time I picked up that game, and I think I was 16 years old, so I'm having a great time jumping through all of those story moments and loving every moment of it. How about yourself?
I've been back in the world of Hogwarts Legacy. I've been going around doing all the side content. Lately, it was because we do the show so much and with so many reviews, it's just story. Here, I'm just kind of sitting back, chilling out, and just doing a little bit of everything in Hogwarts. It's been a blast. But again, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
For a reason. A spell that could save your life shouldn't be unforgivable.
The dark arts seem harmless until it's too late.
None of us will be able to avoid dark magic forever.
What do we do now?
It's up to us. I can teach you Crucio, or I can cast it on you. I'm ready.